Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back. OTB, closing up hour number 2 right now, hearing off the bench. Musso, we're going to discuss the ever-growing quarterback market next hour. Matt Stafford's in that mix. You have found odds on Matt Stafford's landing places. Give them to me.
We have. So, sportsbetting.ag
Okay.
has released their odds. The Indianapolis Colts, the favorite, plus 300 to land Matthew Stafford. The San Francisco 49ers, second best odds at plus 350. You have to go a ways to find the New Orleans Saints, plus 1,400.
Why?
Odds for the Saints, tied for the 10th best odds to land Matthew Stafford.
Give me the other teams that would be ahead of the Saints in this situation.
Well, the Broncos are ahead of them, plus 400. The Washington football team, which makes sense. I mean, they
both those make a lot of sense.
Right.
Okay, continue.
The Panthers, the Carolina Panthers, have better odds, plus 700.
They just signed Teddy to a pretty big contract. I don't know if
They
I agree
did.
with that. All right,
Next.
next.
The New England Patriots are ahead with plus 800 odds. I mean, Cam ain't the answer, bro.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Cam ain't
Okay. Never mind. This isn't going how I thought it was going to go.
No, it's not.
This all makes a lot of sense. All these teams make a
Now,
lot of sense.
one that doesn't, though, is the Los Angeles Rams. I'm not really quite sure why they have better odds than the New Orleans Saints, but they do. 'Cause
just
Are they really going to move on from Jared
No.
Goff? No, they're not. Get out of here.
And I don't know that they should. Damn, dude, that's
It's only one sports book's opinion.
No, I know the reason why that's disappointing though is because that really does reinforce the market, the marketplace you're going to be competing with. And while you can get creative with the cap, and we laid it all out last week, thanks to Nick Underhill's great work on New Orleans Football, I don't know that you can get creative enough to win a battle like that, right? Like when the price, the leverage because the Lions are going to have to trade him, correct? He's not a free agent.
Yeah, no, it would be a mutual parting of ways, so trade.
So
yes.
the level of leverage that the Lions are bringing to the negotiating table with all those teams in the mix, it feels nearly infinite. Now, if we're just talking about trying to win immediately, though, I think Colts would probably be the first option. But like depending on how the Saints manage this offseason, the Saints would be right there. I would put them ahead of the Broncos by a slim margin. Niners would be pretty fascinating, I guess, right? Because they kind of overachieved even with all the injuries this year. So we'll see. But look, there's more quarterbacks than just Matt Stafford to be had, and we're going to break that in the third and final hour of OTB. We call it OTB OT. We'll talk about that quarterback market continuing to grow. We'll get into the actual games from yesterday. We haven't really talked about it much. Some NFL hires taking place. What in the world, LaFleur? And, ask the boys and everything else that we do in the final hour of the program. Another guy who may be feeling a little bit burned on this Monday morning is the Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who falls to 1-4 in NFC championship games. Failures on that stage, again, are so disappointing that they have ways of fracturing even the most solid of relationships. And Rodgers' relationship with Green Bay may not have been that great to begin with. Let's go back to one we played earlier. Here's Aaron Rodgers 1. This is when he was asked after yesterday's NFC championship about what his future in Green Bay was.
There's a lot of guys' futures that are, uncertain, myself included. That's what's sad about it most. Getting this far, obviously there's going to be an end to it at some point, whether we make it past this one or not, but just the uncertainty is tough, and the finality of it all.
If I was a Green Bay fan, I would be feeling pretty sketched out after hearing that. This does not sound like a man who wants to be there. That sounds like a man who loved the teammates from this year. I think it sounds like a man who maybe doesn't love some of the decisions the higher ups are making. Here's Rodgers 2 saying he's gonna what his plans are for this offseason.
Yeah, Bill, it's a good question. I don't know. I really don't. There's a lot of unknowns going into this offseason now. I'm gonna have to take some time away for sure and clear my head and just kind of see what's going on with everything. But it's pretty tough right now, especially thinking about the guys that may or may not be here next year. There's always change. That's the only constant in this business. It's really tough to get to this point. Really, really tough, especially with it only being one bye week in the playoffs. It's a grind just to get to this point, and that makes the finality of it all kind of hit you like a ton of bricks. That's why it's a gutting feeling in your stomach.
Now, that is important to point out, right? The emotion there, I don't think, is very hard to pick up on, right? You don't have to be a terribly empathetic person to feel the kind of vibes that are giving off of Rodgers. So I'm not saying that this is Rodgers' time in Green Bay is over, right? He even talked about the guys who won't be there next year. But it is certainly something to watch. Look at the kind of dichotomy of how Rodgers was treated by his front office versus somebody like Brady in Tampa Bay, right? Despite the fact that Brady's brand new, and maybe that's it. Maybe it's like a new relationship thing where you're trying to do everything for your new boo-boo. And maybe Rodgers and Green Bay are running into a tale as old as time where, relationships can wear thin over time. But despite the fact that Brady's new, what did Brady get when he went to Tampa Bay? I want Gronk, got him. I want Antonio Brown, got him. The point is they acquiesced to Brady's demands, better or worse. What did Rodgers want? He wanted a receiver in a draft filled with legendary receivers. What did he get? A quarterback who didn't even dress out. And I know there's been a storyline that's been kicked to death, but when viewed against what Brady was given, I think it just all kind of reinforces it even more, especially given the very painful way in which the Green Bay season ended, which if they had another great offensive weapon besides Devontae Adams, how are they feeling there at the end? Are they failing in the red zone as much in the NFC Championship? We'll have to wait and see. But does Aaron Rodgers join the quarterback market? So it's official. Over the weekend, Matt Stafford and the Lions have announced that they are parting ways. Who knows if Dan Campbell's aggressive posturing had anything to do with this? And maybe did. I'm the old vet in Stafford. I don't know if I'm buying into the bite the kneecaps thing here off the bat. I think that's probably, let's welcome in a new regime. Let's get that thing started. And look, Stafford's fascinating because the market for him is going to be massive. And it's going to be a trade. And the Lions are going to try to squeeze every drop of blood out of this stone that they can. And that's where it becomes a bit disheartening for the Saints. You can make it work feasibly under the cap. I just wonder how big this price will be when teams like Indianapolis, San Francisco, Denver is a quarterback away. Make no mistake, Denver dealt with a lot of injuries defensively this year. And so, the market for Stafford's going to be huge. He would be my decision number one, though, for the New Orleans Saints. Because I think if Rodgers hits the market, I don't think you'd have a chance at him. If I don't think you have a chance for getting Deshaun Watson, who, by the way, it's been announced this morning, has said that I don't care who the new head coach is. Chris Mortensen, at least, reporting that Deshaun Watson doesn't care who the new head coach is. He wants a break. He is done with the Houston Texans. So you got Stafford. You got Watson. Sam Darnold's floating around for the Saints. I don't think it holds a ton of relevance because, what's the difference in Taysom Hill, Sam Darnold, and Jameis Winston? Whatever. You already got guys that are better than that. If we talked about San Francisco, right, does that mean that Jimmy G's on the table? Again, maybe it doesn't affect the Saints, but if Darnold and Garoppolo go to some of these other teams that are looking for quarterback help, then maybe the Saints get back in the conversation for one of these bigger guys. And look, there will be others that join. I guess the overall point of this is merely to say that in a year in which you are looking for quarterback, there are quarterbacks to be had. Goes back to the old Tommy Moffitt saying that I just bleed through y'all's ears almost every single day. The Saints front office has to ask, how bad do they want it? And what are they willing to sacrifice to get it? What are you willing to give up? How much of your future and your present are you willing to leverage to try to go get a Matt Stafford? Because he is someone that would seem like a home run, depending on the other pieces and that you would or would not be able to keep. It seems like you could be Super Bowl relevant again immediately. At least it would be a chance for Stafford to prove that he could be in that conversation, a chance for Stafford to prove that he could be a consistent winner by getting with a consistent winning franchise, which probably sounds crazy to talk about the Saints for some, but for many, it's just the reality in which they've always lived. All right, coming up next, we are going to Ask the Boys, into Vote TBOT like we do every day. Get your questions in the Bayou Ford YouTube channel. We'll break it down next here on Off the Bench. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, go ahead and like and subscribe below. You want more great Saints content? We got it all here on Off the Bench Overtime. Check out these other videos, share with your friends, and let's grow the Who Dat Nation together. Who Dat?